بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ بوأنا لإبراهيم مكان البيت ألا تشرك بي شيئا وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة لأهل التقوى واليقين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين العبد المؤيد الرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد، فقد قال الحكيم في كتابه الكريم: وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. The obligatory Hajj, which is called Hajj al constitutes two main parts. The first part is called Umrah al Tamattu, and the second part is called Hajj al Tamattu. In the previous sessions, I did explain the rules regarding Umrah al Tamattu, and I said that Umrah is made up of 5 parts or 5 components. The first component is Ihram, the second is Tawaf, and the third is the Tawaf for prayer. The fourth is the Sa'i, and the fifth is Taqsir. Now, I would like to explain the rules of Taqsir a little and then go on to Hajj al Tamattu, because Hajj al Tamattu is the main body of the ritual. Now, what is Taqsir? Taqsir is to cut short some hair. It could be the hair of the head, or you can cut short your mustache or your beard. And according to a widely held opinion, even cutting short your nails would suffice. But it is better to cut short your hair from the head or from your beard, and that will be sufficient. And of course, it goes without saying that shaving is not allowed, because there should be some hair left on your head, so that on the last day when you will shave your head, there should be some hair that could be shaved. So only you are going to cut short some hair, of course, either from your head or from your mustache or from your beard. And of course, Taqsir can be done at any time after Sa'i, but it should not be and must not be done before the Sa'i. Sa'i precedes the Taqsir. And once you have completed the Sa'i, you must shorten your hair. You must cut short your hair. Of course, it is not necessary to do the Taqsir immediately after the Sa'i. You are free, and if you have time, you can do it anywhere, even at the place where you have finished the Sa'i, you can do it, or you can wait and do it elsewhere. There is no actually limitation in terms of the place or in terms of the time. And it also goes without saying that the taqsir has to be done before starting Hajj al Tamattu. You cannot do it after you have worn ihram for a second time, because once you do the taqsir, everything will be halal except for something, as I mentioned in the previous session. There are something that is forbidden, like cutting down the trees, like cutting the grass, hunting, and of course some other acts which I mentioned in the previous sessions. Those haram things remain haram even for the locals. It's not only haram for the pilgrims who wear ihram, but even for the locals who are living in the city of Mecca. It is forbidden for them to hunt. It is forbidden for them to cut down trees or to cut the grass or to punish a person, a criminal who has sought refuge in the Mecca or within the boundary of Haram. So once you have done the taqsir, some of the prohibitions become halal for you. You can wear perfume. You can, of course, do many things, like you can wear shoes. If you were in the state of ihram, you could not wear shoes. You had to wear flip-flops or special slippers. But after you have done the taqsir, you are out of ihram and you can wear that. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt also that taqsir must be done with the intention of qurba, with the intention of seeking proximity to God. If a person does not perform taqsir and he shaves his head when he should not have shaved, then in this case it attracts a kafara of a sheep. He must sacrifice a sheep because he should not have done the taqsir, he should not have shaved his hair, and now he has shaved, and of course he is now liable to a kafara, and the kafara is a sheep. If a pilgrim deliberately fails to do the taqsir and subsequently wears ihram for Hajj, his umrah, his Hajj is invalidated and it will turn to Hajj Ifrat. He has to take action for performing the Hajjat al-Islam, the obligatory Hajj, in the ensuing year. That is an important point. You have to be very careful while performing the Hajj rituals, because a single mistake, if done deliberately, if done knowingly and intentionally, will make Hajj void, and it will be obligatory for you to perform the Hajj in the ensuing year.
يا دافع الخطوب يا جابر المعطوف يا من هو مندوبي فعفوك مطلوبي يا دافع الخطوب يا جابر المعطوف يا من هو مندوبي فعفوك مطلوبي يا ستار العيوب يا غفار الذنوب يا ستار العيوب يا غفار الذنوب يا علام الغيوب يا كشاف الكروب.
Because Tawaf an-Nisa is the last ritual that has to be done after the completion of all other rituals, including those rites and those rituals which are part of the Hajj al Tamattu. But if a person performs tawaf al-nisa, there is no problem in it, and it is permissible. There is no objection if he performs the taqsir and then goes and performs, of course, the tawaf al-nisa. And it should be remembered that every tawaf, if it is performed, is accompanied with 2 rakats of prayer, and the 2 rakats of prayer are offered in the same way as the morning, as the Fajr prayers are offered. So this taqsir is the last and perhaps the 5th obligatory part of Umrat al Tamattu. Now we are going to explain the rules of Hajj al Tamattu, which is the obligatory part and the main body of Hajj. Hajj al Tamattu starts with ihram, and ihram is worn twice, as you remember. Once it is worn for Umrat al Tamattu, and then it is worn for Hajj al Tamattu. On the 8th day of Zul Hajjah, it is recommended that people should wear the ihram and prepare themselves to move out of Mecca and to go to Arafat. Because Arafat, there is an obligatory duty to be performed at Arafat on the 9th day. But for some aged people, for some old people, and for those people who are afraid of overcrowding, it is better for them to take quick action to reach Arafat. Because staying in Arafat, which is called wuquf, is mandatory. It is necessary for a pilgrim to stay at Arafat on the 9th day of Zul Hajjah. And wuquf starts from midday of the 9th of Zul Hajjah till the sunset. This is an obligatory stay. It is necessary for every pilgrim to be present at Arafat at this time. Now, in order to reach this place, one has to prepare himself. He has to wear ihram, and once he wears the ihram, all those things which were forbidden for him again becomes forbidden for him. He cannot wear makeup, he cannot have sexual intercourse, he cannot wear shoes, and of course he cannot wear any other garment under the ihram garment, and so on and so forth. There were 25 prohibitions which he should avoid. And where should one wear the ihram? This is an important question, because when you want to start ihram for Hajj, you are living in the city of Mecca. But when you wear ihram for Umrat al Tamattu, you are at the station, at one of the miqat. So you are going to wear, as far as the Umrat al Tamattu is concerned, you wear the ihram at miqat, at one of the miqat, at one of the stations like Masjid al-Shajara, Masjid, of course, and those people who come from Yemen, from Iraq, and from other cities like Jeddah, they have their own particular and specific stations and miqat from where they wear the ihram. But what about ihram for Hajj al Tamattu? According to religious scholars, it is recommended that the pilgrim should wear the ihram at Masjid al-Haram, at the Grand Mosque. And of course, if it is not possible to wear it in the Grand Mosque, he can wear from wherever he is. If he is in his hotel, he can wear it in his hotel. And he can wear it from the place of his residence. And it does not make any difference. Ihram is the first obligatory part of Hajj al Tamattu. And of course, wearing ihram should be accompanied with niyyah, with niyyah. And the niyyah is to seek, of course, proximity to God and to comply God's order. So it is permissible to leave early for Arafat. You can leave as early as on the first or maybe on the second or third day of Arafat, and you can go out of the city even. There is no problem. If you have an urgent work to do after you have performed the Hajj al Tamattu, you can go out of the city and come back. That is, the permission is granted, and there is no prohibition, there is no problem if you leave the city and come back on the prime time. But it is necessary for every pilgrim to be present at Arafat from the midday, which is called the Zawal time, until the sunset, until Maghrib. This is mandatory and this is necessary. And if a person forgets or fails to arrive there on time, he has to be there whenever he can. But it should be between this time. It should be before sunset. If he arrives a little bit later after Zawal, there is no problem, although he has sinned.
ناجيتك يا رحمن ودعوتك يا ديان يا خالق الإنسان الله 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 يا خالق الإنسان الله الله الله.
By not being there at the time of Zawal, but of course, there is no penalty, there is no kafara for failing to come on time, for failing to be there on time. Now, what is the ritual, the main ritual to be performed at Arafat? According to the religious authorities, there is nothing to be done at Arafat. You can sleep there, you can offer prayers there, you can engage in reciting dua at Arafat. Of course, if a person becomes unconscious and he is there during this time, that will suffice. If a person loses his senses when he is at Arafat at the prescribed time, that will suffice, and that is what he should do. There is no prayer, there is no other obligatory to do there or to perform there at Arafat. Merely staying and being there at Arafat is recommended, is wajib. But of course, as you know very well, on the day of Arafah, Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam recited a lengthy dua at Arafah, and that dua is very popular for Shia, and Shia Muslims on the day of Arafah go out of their houses and they recite the dua wherever they are, even if they are not in Mecca, even if they are not in Saudi Arabia. They go to mosques, they go to mountains to perform dua Arafah. And dua Arafah is a very deep and profound dua by Imam Hussain, peace be upon him. And that is recommended to recite the dua or to recite any other zikr. Of course, the very staying in Arafah is an act of ibadah, an act of worship, which has to be done, which has to be performed with the niyyah of seeking proximity and closeness to God, with the niyyah of taqarrub. But if you recite any dua, then that means you will gain more sawab and more reward for being there and for performing and for doing the dua. The next ritual which should be performed after wuquf at Arafat is to move from Arafat after sunset to Muzdalifah. And wuquf at Muzdalifah is also mandatory, it is obligatory. Of course, one cannot and should not leave Arafat before sunset. He cannot depart and abandon the land of Arafat when the sun is still in the sky and when it has not become dark yet. Of course, when the sun has set and the time for Maghrib has started, then it is necessary to move Arafat and go to Muzdalifah. Wuquf at Muzdalifah is also a necessary part of Hajj al Tamattu. It is the third obligation to be performed, because the first obligation is the haram, which you should wear. The second obligation is wuquf at Arafat. Wuquf means staying at Arafat. And the third obligation is wuquf at Muzdalifah. And of course, wuquf at Muzdalifah, Muzdalifah is also known as Mash'ar al-Haram. So the one place has two names. One is Muzdalifah and the other is Mash'ar al-Haram. The boundaries of Arafat, the boundaries of Haram, the boundaries of Muzdalifah are known to the people who are there, and also there are signs, special signs that show the boundaries of both places, the Arafah and also the Muzdalifah. The places are known and the government has put up signs, special signs that show the boundary. You cannot go out of the boundary of Arafah as long as you are supposed to be at Arafah. And you cannot move out of Arafah, out of Muzdalifah, as long as it is necessary and it is compulsory for you to be at Muzdalifah. When a pilgrim leaves Arafat, he must spend part of the night in Muzdalifah. He should, as a matter of precaution, stay there till sunrise. Now, what is obligatory to do and to perform at Mash'ar al-Haram or Muzdalifah is to be there during the night. Again, when it comes to staying at Muzdalifah, you are not supposed to do anything. You have to offer only the obligatory prayers, the Maghrib and Isha prayers, and also the dawn prayer. But you are not, of course, supposed to do any other act, but it's better to engage in dua, to offer worship, and to pray to God for your own forgiveness. All these acts are recommended, and it's not wajib to do these things. And it is said by the pilgrims that it is, of course, by ulama also, that it is good for you, those who have enough experience and who have been to Mecca, they say that it is good when you are at Mash'ar al-Haram or when you are at Muzdalifah to collect pebbles for you, to collect small stones and put them in a small bag for yourself, because you will need them on the day when you will pelt stone at Jamarat, at the devils. And you are not going to use used stones or the stones which other people have used once. You have to collect new pebbles. And of course, the best place where you can find where you can collect pebbles or stones, small stones, is the Mash'ar al-Haram. Of course, you have to collect sufficient pebbles, and the maximum amount of pebbles to hit the devils and to hit the Jamarat on the next or on the ensuing day, which is the day of Eid, or on the 11th day, of course, as I will mention in the next session to come. I will further, inshallah, elaborate and discuss the details regarding the ritual of the day of Eid, which is on the 10th day of Zul Hajjah. The 10th day of Zul Hajjah. The 9th day is the day of Arafah, and the 10th day of Zul Hajjah is the day of Eid, the day of Eid. And there are certain rituals, certain practices, and certain deeds to be performed by the pilgrim who is performing Hajj al Tamattu. and the main body of Hajjat al Islam, or the obligatory Hajj. Inshallah, I will carry on the discussion. You should also follow the discussions and try to understand as much as you can. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا
يا ربنا
واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا